since 5. And, you know, before there was an Usher, there was an Orlando Brown. Before there was a Tiana Taylor, there was an Orlando Brown.
You're a legend. No denying that.
Before there was a Bow Wow, there was an Orlando Brown. Before there was a Sierra, there was an Orlando Brown. I feel like a lot of people understand that, you know, you just got to be careful with what you play with when you're playing with the intelligence of a certain individual. They want to play with themselves. So, he's talking to Cole. No, I said I'm not giving my asshole up. That's not a code. Ain't no code to that. What I know and what I don't. I know what I know and I know what I don't. I can't tell you about what I don't know.
You've heard the whispers, seen the memes, caught the side eyes at award shows. But what if everything you suspected about Hollywood's dirtiest secret wasn't just gossip? It was a biological weapon disguised as a party invitation. Orlando Brown isn't just naming names. He's exposing a systematic infection campaign that turned A-list careers into contamination trails. From Usher to Will Smith, Meek Mill to Kevin Hart, the dots you've been afraid to connect are spelling out the entertainment industry's most devastating cover-up. Tonight, we're not just talking about who got famous, we're revealing who got infected getting there. Buckle up. Here's the truth nobody wanted to admit. Orlando Brown wasn't having breakdowns, he was having breakthroughs. While the world laughed at his erratic behavior, he was speaking in the only code that kept him alive. Because when you're up against an empire that silences whistleblowers permanently, sometimes crazy is the only camouflage that works.
I feel like a lot of people understand that, you know, you just got to be careful with what you play with when you're playing with the intelligence of a certain individual. You know what I'm saying? You gotta make sure you be careful because normally where there's smoke, there's fire. Nobody's gonna keep on, you know, poking at the bear if there's nothing to poke at the bear with. You know, and back then I was poking at the bear, bro. Like I was poking at the bear. Nobody was you know, caring. You know, everybody thought, oh, well, just stop posting and all this. You know, and now it's starting to make sense because it's not about hiding anymore. And a lot of people have been hiding. I got on my Diddy mode. I'm sorry, I started licking my lip. You know what I'm saying? I mean, yo, Diddy, you gave me the oosh-gosh goosh-wash. You gave me the oosh-gosh muaf, the shoosh-wash. Diddy. Yeah, son. I mean, you gave me the oosh-gosh muash. I love it, yo. I love it. You gave me the oosh-gosh muash. Bro, the requirement is you gotta say no Diddy. If it's new booty in the building, you know he gonna get it.
Don't take your girlfriend to a Diddy party.
Nigga, you can take the bitch, but he won't you. He ain't worried about that bitch. He's not worried about the bitch at all.
That Ushkish Umaf wasn't gibberish. It was survival code. Orlando knew that speaking plain English about Diddy's operation would get him eliminated, so he wrapped the truth in madness. And now, with Sean Combs sitting in federal custody, every crazy warning Orlando gave is starting to make perfect sense. But here's what makes this even more calculated. Orlando wasn't just protecting himself. He was protecting everyone else who was too scared to speak up.
Wouldn't it work for Whitney to play crazy? Why wouldn't it work?
Hey.
The oosh gosh, whoosh wash. Orlando's brilliant.
Right. Yeah.
Y'all spent time with him.
We did.
He's highly intelligent.
Yes.
Imagine what it's been like to wear this character for this long.
No. I go.
That he does is a character. Actually, the shit he does online is the best acting he does.
Is he speaking truth?
Of course he is.
You know?
Jaguar Wright saw through the performance from day one. She recognized that Orlando's mental health episodes were actually strategic theater, a man playing insane to avoid becoming another industry casualty. Because when you know what Orlando knows about Diddy's freak-off parties and the biological consequences, staying silent isn't just complicit, it's deadly. Let's be real about who Orlando Brown really is. This man has been in the public eye since he was 5 years old. 5. That's 3 decades of watching Hollywood's machine operate from the inside, seeing how stars get chewed up, spit out in silence when they know too much. Orlando witnessed things that would break most adults while he was still learning to read. He saw the Preds masquerading as mentors, the parties where innocence dies, and the NDAs signed in blood and baby oil.
I've been in the public eye since 5. And, you know, before there was an Usher, there was an Orlando Brown. Before there was a Tiana Taylor, there was an Orlando Brown.
You're a legend.
There was
No denying that.
Before there was a Bow Wow, there was an Orlando Brown. Before there was a Sierra, there was an Orlando Brown. Levels to this shit,
levels.
bro. Yeah, it's definitely levels. So if you want me to act high, I'll act high. If you want me to act drunk, I'll be drunk. If you want me to say some Raven shit, I'll say some Raven shit. You know, it's now we're watching these interviews, and like I've said before, it's at a 1 hour and a half, and we're not turning this into a movie. Who needs to be fired? Who needs to be fired? We're watching these interviews at 100, like at 100 plus minutes. Is what I'm saying to you. And who needs to be fired for allowing you to keep sitting? What did they want to see? They labeled it whatever the they would have labeled it. That's why I don't care. They can label me whatever the they would have labeled. You can't put me in the box. It's the Holy Spirit. By any means necessary, it's going to shine bright. By any means necessary. I'd have been arrested, set up, damn near almost every damn day. But it's how you maneuver it.
So, when Orlando chose the crazy camouflage, it wasn't mental illness. It was survival instinct honed by 30 years of industry trauma. He knew that the moment Diddy's secrets started surfacing, anyone who could connect the dots would become a target. The erratic persona wasn't Orlando losing his mind. It was Orlando keeping his life. Because in Hollywood, the truth tellers don't get therapy, they get funerals. Let's talk about how Diddy built his empire. For decades, Sean Combs wasn't just throwing parties. He was running the most exclusive auction house in Hollywood, where careers were bought and sold behind locked doors. Every A-list, every rising star, every industry executive knew that a Diddy party invitation wasn't just social currency. It was a golden ticket to the top of the entertainment food chain. Stars would literally line up for months, begging their agents, their publicists, their managers to get them into those legendary gatherings. Because everyone in Hollywood understood the unspoken rule. If Diddy didn't know your name, your career had a ceiling. And if he did know your name, well, that came with its own set of requirements. Orlando Brown watched this cycle play out over and over again. He saw the hungry looks in celebrities' eyes when those white party invitations dropped. He witnessed the desperation of artists willing to do anything, and we mean anything, for a seat at Diddy's table.
If you're on the outside looking in and you become a person that can be close to Puff, man, you made it, is what you're thinking.
Okay.
You never thinking these problems is gonna happen, but when he pull his out,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
You better suck it.
So if no, it's not just you better suck it. It's you know, you better fuck it and suck it.
Yeah. And hire some other dudes to suck it too.
Yeah. So it's like, and now I'm like, nigga, that's what you was doing? Like, nah, man, you know what I'm saying? I can't vouch for that. I can say you was a good friend, you was a good family member, and I can say that you was definitely, you know, a good uncle and all that. I don't know your parties.
This wasn't networking. This was systematic exploitation, disguised as opportunity. Orlando knew the price of admission because he refused to pay it. While others were making sacrifices in private rooms, Orlando was taking mental notes, building a case file in his head about how success really worked in Hollywood's upper echelons. The parties weren't celebrations, they were transactions. And Orlando Brown was keeping receipts.
You know what I'm capable of. They want to play with themselves. Oh, well, he's talking to code. No, I said I'm not giving my asshole up. That's not a code. Ain't no code to that. I'm not bending on even no couches. Y'all ain't running up my asshole. Ain't no studio for me to go get ripped and be looking like somebody's funny. Get the out of here. None of that.
Now let's talk about what happens when the truth starts catching up to you. When Lil Rod dropped that lawsuit naming Meek Mill in Diddy's alleged S activities, Meek didn't just deny it. He completely lost his mind. The man went nuclear on social media, offering $100,000 rewards, threatening lawsuits, demanding investigations. That wasn't the response of someone who was innocent. That was the panic of someone who knew the walls were closing in. Meek's erratic behavior told the whole story. Deleting tweets, contradicting himself, going from angry denials to desperate pleas for people to leave him alone. Classic guilty man trapped in a lie behavior. And the more he protested, the more obvious it became that Lil Rod had hit a nerve that went straight to Meek's core. But here's the kicker. All that public freakout, all those legal threats and social media meltdowns, none of it mattered. Because Orlando Brown had already seen what Meek was trying so desperately to hide.
When you saw this lawsuit that made it seem as if perhaps Diddy and Meek Mill had sex.
I mean, to each their own, and why would they not have sex when they're gay rappers?
They.
Do you think Meek Mill's gay?
We all know he's gay.
Who's we?
Rick Ross knows he's gay.
I didn't know. It's news to me.
Everybody Rick Ross knows.
Do you think Rick Ross would sign a gay rapper?
Rick Ross knows he's gay.
Orlando wasn't guessing. He wasn't speculating based on court documents or industry gossip. He was speaking from direct knowledge, naming names with the confidence of someone who had witnessed these encounters firsthand. And Rick Ross getting lumped in there, that wasn't a random accusation. That was Orlando connecting dots that the public hadn't even started to draw yet.
When Diddy got locked up, Meek Mill came out saying that he'll pay somebody $100,000 to investigate, that he has nothing to do with anything with Diddy.
Man, look, you can't take back what your butthole received. That's just like the video that's coming out with him and Will. With Will Smith getting the Will Smith. You ain't heard the Will Smith footage?
Yeah.
Alright, Will Smith. They got the Carl Winslow. Yeah, they got a lot, bro. There's a lot coming out, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna just give it to you 1,000.
The fact that Orlando can casually mention specific videos, giving details about what's allegedly on those tapes, should terrify everyone involved. Because if those recordings exist, and if they surface, Meek's social media meltdowns are going to look like child's play compared to what's coming next. Orlando isn't just talking, he's promising receipts. And in Hollywood, receipts are everything. Now we need to talk about the man who might be patient zero in this whole sick equation. Usher Raymond. Everyone knows the story about 13-year-old Usher living with Diddy, but what Orlando Brown is revealing goes way deeper than anyone imagined. This wasn't mentorship. This was conditioning on an industrial scale. Think about it. Usher was just a kid when he got thrown into Diddy's world, and by the time he emerged, he was a different person entirely. The confident, talented teenager went in, and what came out was someone who'd learned to survive by perpetuating the same cycle that nearly destroyed him.
Did you call him Gusher?
I said Usher is a gusher. That's what I said. I said Usher is a gusher. It was nice.
I don't even want to know why you say
His whole thing is accusing everybody of being on some mystery Illuminati gate shit, right?
So what? They shouldn't have showed me the coochies.
Orlando's not just throwing around crude nicknames here. He's identifying Usher as someone who became complicit in the system, someone who went from victim to participant. And that Gusher reference, that's Orlando's way of saying Usher opened the floodgates for what came next. But here's where it gets truly disturbing. According to industry insiders, Usher didn't just survive his time with Diddy. He learned to use the same playbook on the next generation.
I think if a victim comes out against Usher, it'll show how egregious this is. Because if he can be a predator, then anybody can be a predator.
You're smiling in your face the whole time.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, people look at Usher, they don't see that. They're not seeing the victim. They're not seeing that boy that got rushed to the hospital. They're not seeing what the intentions was in his heart when he took Justin Bieber there. Let's be honest. He took Justin Bieber there. Diddy had been trying to get to Bieber for a minute. And his management was backing him on. But it wasn't until Usher took over management and had guardianship and gave temporary guardianship to the diddler for 48 hours. Think about that. He had already been to the hospital. That situation that Gene was talking about. And you still took Bieber there. But you got custody of him first. Diddy had already tried. They wouldn't let him. Actually, someone made reference to the fact that Diddy trying to get at Bieber the way he was trying to get at Bieber was looking a little predatory. And then Usher came in and discovered it, managed him, and got custody of him, and promised to look after him. And then he sent him to the diddler. Does that sound like a good guy? Does that sound like a good guy? Now that we know what Diddy's really like. What kind of asshole do you gotta be to take another boy, another talented boy, and put him in your place so it ain't gotta be you no more? Because that's what they do. They get victims, and then once they get to a certain age and they get too old for them to enjoy them, they send them out to go get other young kids.
Usher basically fed Justin Bieber to Diddy to save himself from continued. Think about that level of calculated survival. Usher, knowing exactly what Diddy was capable of, allegedly delivered a vulnerable teenager right into the same nightmare he'd barely escaped from. It's the ultimate example of how trauma creates more trauma, how victims become victimizers just to survive. So let's talk about the man who's probably losing the most sleep right now, Will Smith. The moment Orlando Brown started dropping names, Will went into full damage control mode, and nothing screams guilty louder than a man who's supposedly innocent going out of his way to deny allegations nobody officially made. Yet, the timeline tells the whole story. First, Brother Bilal drops that bombshell about Will's secret life, confirming what industry insiders have whispered about own should have been enough to make Will lay low, handle it privately, maybe through lawyers. But when Orlando Brown started connecting Will to Diddy's freak-offs, something in Will Smith snapped. He couldn't just ignore it. He had to address it publicly, breaking his own cardinal rule of never responding to gossip.
I don't have shit to do with Puffy, so y'all can stop all that.
That wasn't damage control. That was desperation. Will Smith stopping his own comedy show to address Diddy allegations shows you exactly how terrified he is of what might surface. Because when Orlando Brown casually mentions that there are specific videos coming out, Will knows exactly which videos he's talking about.
I'm not condoning what it sounds like on when Will Smith get in the, on video and camera and audio. I'm not, trying to condone what it sounds like when, Meek Mill get in that. You know what I'm saying? On camera, on video. I'm not trying to get, all in between the business of, Reginald Bill Johnson getting in that. You know what I'm saying? And all that other shit, you know what I'm saying? But what I'm talking about is some real gangster shit and some real is, you know what I'm saying? You want that dick in your ass. You want that extra $1 million or whatever the case may be, and you can't blame the person that gave it to you. And that's Puff. Puff like the, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna blame that man, you know what I'm saying? Because he like the, I was like, yo man, no thank you. That's simple, man. I got a couple $1 million just saying I don't wanna tell your truth. You know what I'm saying? Tell your truth. You know what I mean? Like, I'm used to certain things, like, yo, man, tell the truth. You get, but if you want to stay in the room, man, you get, and a lot of people got fucked a lot of people, and it's not nothing wrong with how you It's all on video and audio. And that's what it's up at. You can tell me Puff going away for a long time, bro, but do you not hear the of Meek Mill? Do you not hear all of the shake it off, take that of Will Smith?
Carl Winslow, Will Smith, Meek Mill. Orlando's not just throwing names around randomly. He's giving us a preview of coming attractions. And Will Smith's Public Panic tells us everything we need to know about how real these allegations are. But what happens when you give Diddy everything he asked for and still get thrown away like trash? YK Osiris represents the most tragic part of this whole system. The artists who sacrificed their dignity, their identity, their very manhood, only to discover that compliance doesn't guarantee protection. Osiris thought he was playing the game right. He took those suspicious trips with Diddy, posted the intimate photos, played the role of the willing participant. But what he didn't understand was that once you're in Diddy's web, you're never really safe. You're just useful until you're not.
Like, this shit is not right, man. So what the f*** I'm living for? Like, why the f*** I'm on this earth for? Like, why? Like, Osiris, why you haven't even, like, this crash? Like, just do something that